Thank you. All right. I am so extremely excited to talk to you all about today's topic because it's a topic that affects us in ways we have never seen in terms of research today. Normally, when we think of this topic, we probably have perceptions that may be on target or not. And as she mentioned, as Leah mentioned, we're going to be talking about gut bacteria. Now, bacteria, can you trust your gut? What do we normally think about with our gut? Feelings, right? We say, I have a gut feeling. So we're looking at the emotions with the gut. But actually, there's more than feeling going on scientifically. And that's what we're going to talk about. What happens scientifically when we look at our gut profile. Now, some of you were not here last year, but we conducted research, and I'm still doing the analysis on that research from last year, of which we collected stool samples. I took your stool samples, packaged it up, sent it over to Korea, and we have now done the gut analysis of those that participated in our study, Shirley. Okay? And I'm going to show you next week, those of you who will sit down with me, what your gut profile actually looks like. Can you imagine? Science has gone so far now, we can actually look inside and see what's going on. But what I'm going to show you today is not only do you know what's going on, but what does that mean to you? So what if I have a lot of E. coli? So what if I have a lot of lactobacillus? Does it mean anything? Yes, it means a lot, and let's take a look at it. So let me start at a very elementary place, okay? I am at Samyuk University in Seoul, Korea, and I am also completing my PhD with a PhD in public health with a specialty in microbiology. My specialty is gut microbiota, okay? It's the Lord, it's the Lord. Glory to the Lord, okay? This is not easy, but His grace is sufficient. And for me, I'll tell you what it is. God has always had His plan. God has always had the perfect situation for us. Science is catching up to what God already designed, intelligent design. Okay, so what is this? Bacteria. Do you see it? No, are you sure? Where might it be? Okay, he said it's a microorganism. When you think of bacteria, okay, what comes to mind? Germs. Are germs good or bad?
Both. They're both.
Oh my, did you get a gift yet? Okay, Shirley, he said it first. I have to give it to him, okay? Very good, okay? Another pen, just what you needed, okay? This one comes from a long, far away place, okay? Very good. Okay, so germs can be good or bad. Yes? Would you agree with him? You sure? Some of you sound a little iffy. Okay, let's take a look and see. Now, germs occur where? Everywhere. We normally wash our hands to get rid of germs, okay? Because we don't want to eat our food and contaminate that food with the germs that naturally occur on our bodies, okay? The skin is the largest organ of the body. And the skin has loads of what?
Germs.
Yes. Bacteria. Let's call it bacteria, okay? So we normally think of bacteria as negative. Where do we find bacteria, ladies and gentlemen? Everywhere. Germs are everywhere. Bacteria is everywhere. They are a part of nature. We are a part of nature. The animals, the plants, everything. Now, our bodies are composed of genes. We know that. We see a lot of I love the television programs that have forensic studies because the DNA to me is so interesting, okay? And so we know that DNA is related to what? Genes, okay? So, the human body, we're looking at the human genome. There are how many? 100. There are 100 bacterial species, okay? Now, we call this the microbiome. That's just one of the terms that we use in microbiology to identify what we're talking about. But what we find is that the microbiome has a huge impact on what? On your health and your ability to digest food. And we're going to talk about how this food is impacted in your body. Did you know, based on your gut profile, you may have a predisposition toward obesity? Yes, that's what the new data is showing. So let's say, for example, someone maybe who's been overweight all their lives. One of my favorite people is Oprah, okay? And I have seen her struggle with this thing. Now, it could be a thyroid problem, all right? But she's not the only one. I've seen 300, 400, 500. Okay, sis, okay, I can relate, all right? So some of you are saying, forget Oprah, me, okay? You're struggling all of your life to lose this weight, all of your life. I have exercised, I've eaten salad, I've drinking yo-yo up and down, okay, all right. I've drinking Mary Craig or Jenny Craig, whatever Craig's name is, okay? I have had every shake under the sun. I've tried the beach diet and everything, and I can't lose this weight. It could very, very well be a bacterial issue. And if it's a bacterial issue, then we have to make the changes at the bacterial level, okay? I'm telling you, people have fought for years and years. Not only is the science showing that obesity is related to gut bacteria, but diabetes, hypertension, and the other metabolic syndrome diseases, all based on your bacteria. So you go on your diet and you lose your weight and you look good for 6 months, 7 months, but then you say, you know what, I done lost so much weight, I'm gonna go back and get me a McDonald's hamburger. Oh, you know what, I can have some French fries. Oh, you know what, this soda, not a big deal. But what happens is your taste gets reactivated. And what do you want to do? You want to go back to that soda, back to that hamburger, back to those French fries. You want to go back. And when you go back, what happens here? It starts all over again. Now, my friends, constipation, bacteria, okay? Yes, and as is the opposite, diarrhea. All about the gut. So what we have to do is learn about our gut, understand that as I see you, and everybody here, your gut profiles are all different. So the only way to know what your gut looks like is to get your stool tested. That's why I did stool testing last year for our research project, okay? And just as a little tidbit, I'm not going to show you that today, I will show you next week. We have a test, a DNA analysis test called DGGE. It's a denaturing process that separates DNA. What we found, and we looked at the patterns. So I have 9 omnivores, people who eat everything, and I have 9 herbivores, people who are veggies. I'm with you, sister. I'm with you. I'm up there, okay? And, yeah, DGGE. I'm going to talk about it more next week, but I'm just giving you a picture of what I'm talking about. And so what that shows us are the gut patterns of the people that we tested. What we found was a significant difference with our omnivores versus our herbivores. Now, we have a second test that we have to put through a different type of machine, and we're going to tease out what particular species of bacteria the vegetarians have versus the omnivores, okay? But all of that is significant to what I'm talking about today. So let's move on. So we know that we find bacteria where? Everywhere, okay? How does bacteria function in nature? You've already told me. Good and bad, all right? Both ways. Life is like that. We have some good and we have some bad. So what do we want to do? We want to increase the good and decrease the bad. All right. So let's look at the pros and cons of bacteria. Some bacteria causes illness and death. We know that, okay? You know, sometimes when children get really sick, now when I go to the public health seminars, we have problems with children in countries like Bangladesh, where they drink the water and the kids get really sick and the children die at an early age, high child mortality rates, all right? But then we have a limited perception. Some people think of bacteria as only bad, but bacteria is responsible for diseases, but also for facilitating survival of other species. So we need some bacteria to help the good bacteria to maintain itself or maintain a certain level. Let's continue on. In our global ecosystem, bacteria, through its microscopic size, has crucial roles, okay? The ecosystem, not only in our gut, but in nature itself, all right, relies or depends on the activity of bacteria to maintain balance and thrive. So, if you don't have enough, what kind of bacteria? Good bacteria, you don't have enough of what you need to maintain balance. Let me tell you another tidbit that has been extremely interesting. People who are obese have two commonalities. They have less bacteria, overall numbers, less and less diversity. So not only do you have, in a sense, too little, but you don't have enough diversity with what you have. So you're stuck, you have double trouble, catch-22. Whereas on the other side of the coin, those who don't have that kind of pH acidity level, more of the good bacteria doing what it's supposed to do. I had a conversation with someone the other day, and she said, "Oh, Rhonda, I'm eating these, and I said, "Sweetheart, your bacteria is doing what it's supposed to do. Gas is not necessarily a bad thing. Now, aromatically, it may not be pleasant, okay? But you can certainly walk out of the door, you know. When I have class, you know, children, you know, when I have students, I have to be polite and professional. I walk out of the door, do what I have to do, and I walk back in. And so I'm sure they think that their teacher never passes, okay? But we all have to. We all have to. It's not a bad thing to have gas. It's not a bad thing to belch. In some cultures, if you don't belch, they consider it rude. You don't like their food. What? You can't belch after I spent all of these hours fixing you this food? Oh my goodness, those American people, I don't know what's wrong with them. So, gas is not necessarily bad. That's my point. All right. So, nutrients like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and sulfur have a cyclic process, a cycle that they go through, okay? And bacterial activity is found to be responsible for helping that cycle to maintain itself. Let's go further. Bacterial microorganisms are responsible for producing oxygen. What do we do with oxygen? Breathe. What happens if we don't have oxygen? Yes, you will not be alive, okay? So we need oxygen. Gas production facilitates multicellular microorganisms to survive and evolve. They act in the decomposition process. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit further about decomposition, but basically, we're talking about we eat something, how does that break down or metabolize in your body? If you don't have enough good bacteria, it's not going to metabolize properly. And that's what we think leads to obesity, or at least the risk of obesity. So, dead and rotting organisms give off organic carbon. This organic carbon could very quickly what? Deplete what? Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere if there are no bacteria that would help it in the decomposing process. Now, why do we need carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? Can somebody tell me? Because I want to give you something for that. Why do we need carbon dioxide? Okay, rock, scissors, paper, go. Oh my, she's a teacher, you know that? Teacher, would you like a book or a pen? Okay, all right, can you pass these back? Let her make a choice of what you like. Please take a book and a pen, okay? The reason is that the plants need the carbon dioxide. As we exhale carbon dioxide, right, what do the plants give us? Oxygen. Oh, newcomer in the house. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Yes, so we're looking at an ecosystem. We give them CO2, they give us, okay, oxygen. Okay, very good. Okay, very good. Karen, you deserve something. Can somebody pass back? Would you like a pen, my dear? Karen was my former student, by the way. We won't tell you how many years ago that was, but Karen was my student. Oh, she's cheating because she was my student? Take a choice. Oh, that's one on parents.
I'm a parent.
Okay, very good. All right. She said I taught her well. Woo! All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, it is a fact that carbon dioxide is responsible for photosynthesis, which is what we just talked about. When an organism dies, the carbon in it and in its tissues becomes unavailable for any living process, right? And with decomposition, the breakdown of these organisms gives way to the releasing of nutrients back into the environment. This is the role of bacteria. This is the role of bacteria. So, some of you might remember this. We are human beings, right? And human beings have cells. How many cells do you think we have? Okay, this is worth a pen. It's a small question, but it's worth a pen. How many cells do we have? You raise your hand. I want to, okay? Woo! Work it, mamita. You worked it in the class yesterday, didn't you? You come back tomorrow, okay? She said trillions. It's not millions, okay? There we go. Okay. We have like 100 trillion or thereabout of cells, just cells in the human body, okay? Now let's take this thought a little bit further, okay? Again, this is just explaining the terms that we use in microbiology, the human microbiome or human microbiota. Microbiota is just talking about your gut flora. That's all it is, okay? And it's microorganisms, and they reside on the surface of your skin, okay? And in the deep layers and saliva and oral mucosa and conjunctiva and the gastrointestinal tract. So, in the human body, bacteria is everywhere. It is everywhere. We can't get away from bacteria. So, since you can't beat them, you need to join them, all right? Now, we just talked about how many human cells we have. How many bacteria do you think there are in comparison to human cells? Keep in mind, trillions, 100 trillion. What do you think it looks like in terms of bacteria? Okay, this is for a pen. Let's do it like 2 times, 3 times. Just give me an answer like that. Who thinks they know? Okay, somebody said 7. 7 is not the answer. 3 times, too low. Okay. But you did say 10. You take one and give her one too. 10 times is the answer. Yes, 10 times. It's 10 times, 10 times, 10 times. Okay, very good. So that means there's a whole lot of bacteria going on, right? So, how much more? 10 times. Your body houses 10 times more bacteria than your cells. 10 times more. So what are we going to do with all of this bacteria? How can we process what it does? Okay? Now, you may remember this slide for a couple of years ago. Dr. Reed first gave us a talk about this, and he is or was my advisor when I was doing my master's program. He actually is the one that inspired my interest in gut bacteria. So we're going to take a look at a few of the slides from the presentation he did earlier, because education is a learning process. We don't learn one time. We don't learn 2 times. How many times does it take for you to really remember something? Who can give me a number? She said 28? 50 for you? We got to work on your bacteria, dude, okay? 3? She said 3? She says it depends on the repetition. Okay, let me change my question. To build a habit, what does it take? I heard it in the back. It's 21. 21. 21. Yes, to build a habit, it's 21. Yeah, it's right. It's 21. You can share with your friends. Okay? So that means we need to repeat many, many times to remember what we're learning. Okay? There are how many? Oh, I know you guys can read better than that. There are how many?
6.7 billion.
That's right. 6.7 billion people. Where? Okay. Each person has what? 10 trillion cells. But how much bacteria? Can you imagine that? Look at the difference. 10 times the difference. Bacteria is serious. It's something to be taken seriously. And the microbiome begins to answer the question, what are these 100 trillion bacteria doing inside where?
Our body.
Our bodies, that's right. Okay, so this is a study that is, my dissertation work will be based on some of the work from Dr. Tsai. Dr. Tsai did some significant work in terms of looking at obesity and its link to gut flora, okay? What he and what his colleagues did, it's a group of them, they came up with the notion, and not only the notion, but had shown that certain mixes of microbiota may protect or what? Predispose you, the host, to obesity. Now, let me go to, okay, I'll go to the mouse in just a moment because this is a significant study I'm about to tell you about. And what they found was inefficient energy extraction, okay? Thus, setting the stage for fat reabsorption. Now, I'm going to break that down into layman's terms so it makes sense to you, okay? I take in food, right? The normal process would be for my body to extract what I need for energy use, okay? And to get rid of the waste. That's the normal process. But for people that are having a gut issue, they don't absorb the right way. And what happens is, instead of the fat leaving the body, for some reason, it is reabsorbed again, okay? And these people have a hard time losing weight. Now, they go back and they eat the same foods that created the environment that I just told you about, and again, the body, instead of getting rid of, what does it do? It harvests the fat, okay? That's a simplified way of trying to explain what happened in this study. Now, let me go to my little friend, the mouse. Does he look like he's fit or obese? Okay, he's obese. All right. Fat rat. Okay, I like it, Karen. I like it. Fat rat. Now, You know, in science, we use animal studies before they even look at the human studies. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these mice, and then I'm going to tell you some human studies that have been done. What they did is they had a set of fit mice over here. These guys had really good gut flora. Then they had the obese guys over here. These guys were having severe problems. Somebody came up with the notion, let me take the bacteria from the good mice, let me insert it into the gut of the obese mice, and let's see what happens. What do you think happened? They certainly did. Those guys lost weight because they simply changed their gut microbiota. Now, let me go to human studies. It has been shown, as a matter of fact, last year, just before I came here, I had a layover in Chicago, and they showed where they actually took a person was having a particular disease state. They took the microbiota of a family member and transplanted it into the person that was having the disease state. What happened? It cured. They got well. So that means that if we can find a sensible and logical way to change our gut profile, we might be able to change our disease state. All right? That's the idea that all of this study is lending itself to. They did not analyze. Let me repeat the question so you can hear. Her question was, once they injected the obese rats with the gut flora of the healthy ones, did their behavior change? I don't think they analyzed that because I think they were looking strictly at the obesity levels of the two groups. But there is also evidence, and I've been doing a lot of literature review, that depression, believe it ladies, you know how depressed we can get, is related to your bacterial profile. Can you imagine? Yeah, exactly, yeah. So this is showing us there's a lot more. We will continue to do studies hopefully, I'd like to do a study next year with our group. We'll see what happens with that, but we need to consider what we take in affects our gut profile, okay? So, the proposed methods by which the microbiome may contribute to obesity may include what I just explained, dietary energy, where the body reabsorbs the fat, okay? That's what I just explained to you. Promoting fat deposition and triggering systematic inflammation. Now, inflammation is something that many of the speakers and presenters have talked about here at Fit for You, okay? Inflammation is sort of like, if you can imagine your sinuses always being full, that's an indication of inflammation, okay? Inflammation, if you eat too much ice cream, your nose might run more, okay? You eat too many sweets or too many sodas, it changes what's happening in your body. All of those are inflammation responses. So, what's the best thing to drink? Water, okay? And there's some benefit to herbal teas, all right? Where I live now, teas are a big deal. So if you know how to use them, they're good. There are some teas that have antibiotics, and they're a good source to help you. And sometimes I find that if my mood is going down a little bit, I find that a tea might be just enough to boost my spirit, okay? An antibiotic tea, when I say a tea, okay? Some like green tea is very popular in Korea. All of Asia has green tea, but it's an antioxidant. That's what I mean, not antibiotic, antioxidant type tea. So your green tea is a really good one. And here in America, because we live in a country with so much variety, you can go to any of your stores, Whole Foods or Wegmans or those kinds of places. You can find teas from all over the world. Now, I have a friend who was Turkish, and she exposed me to Turkish tea, and I found that to be really good, and I found my energy levels pretty high with Turkish tea. I can't tell you the name of it. I only know it came from Turkey, but it was good, and it did what I needed it to do at the time I took it. But they taste good too, so drink your water regularly, try some teas. try to boost your spirits, okay? Of course, ladies, those of us who have depression, you know exercise helps. So that's why your teacher exercises every day, because I like me better when I'm happy and running around like a nut. Yes, ma'am. There are green teas that don't have caffeine, but that's a good question. Korean green tea does have caffeine. So if you want a non-caffeine tea, then you have to go to herbal teas, and they're usually made from wheat or more of a grain source. And they would be the teas that you would want that don't have that caffeine kick. Okay, good. All right. I'm sorry. Black tea has caffeine. It does. Yes, high in antioxidants, yes. Well, I wouldn't say plenty, but I'd say moderate. It's good. You know, it's okay. You know, we have to be balanced. We have to be balanced. And sometimes there may be a place to drink some black tea, and it might be okay. So, you know, I try to, you know, I am a vegetarian. I do eat vegetables. I do drink water, but occasionally I will have green tea. Or maybe if I can't get a green tea, I might get black tea. Especially if I'm on the airplane, I'm trying to stay awake to keep myself, you know, try to get over that jet lag. I might do something like that. And I'm not telling you where and when to use it. I'm just giving you an example of how it worked for me. Okay? But yes, black tea is a good antioxidant. And I wouldn't say plenty because of the caffeine, but I would say pick and choose wisely. Okay, sorry, thanks.
There are decaf green teas, aren't there?
The teas, there might be a decaf green tea, but because I'm in Korea, their green tea is seriously green tea.
No, I got you.
But yeah, they do. They keep you up.
I don't.
Good morning, and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
But the question that I had, are the decaf ones less effective in terms of being antioxidant?
I don't think so. Now, I haven't studied it, but I
Okay.
don't think so based on properties,
Yeah, I
okay?
think it's
But
okay.
I haven't studied it. You know, I don't want to give you something I haven't really researched thoroughly. But she was asking was the antioxidant effect change if it has caffeine or no? I don't think so, but the appropriate answer from Dr. Reed is, I don't know. Let me look that up, okay? All right. Now, the last thing I want to tell you is about pre and probiotics. Who's heard of probiotics? Ah, and where do we get them? Okay, very, very good. We can get them from yogurt. Did you say the drugstore? Thank you. She said the drugstore. Yeah, you can get it from the drugstore. But pre and probiotics are marketed to the public heavily now. Okay? Now, let me tell you a story. Again, this is about balance. I was giving I give health presentations at our church once a month, and I had talked a bit about pre and probiotics. And a friend of mine, and remember, we're in Korea, and Korea gives you pretty pictures, and they have all of this Korean writing, and she couldn't tell. She knew it was a pre or probiotic, but she wasn't really sure which one. She drank it and got nausea. Okay? That can happen because you need to understand the difference between the two first and then make your choice based on an educated decision. It wasn't that she wasn't educated, it's just that we struggle with the writing, and sometimes they will spell P-R-E, P-R-O, okay? So you don't know, you know, you have to just experiment with what you have there. So we're looking at a language barrier. But you do need to know what you're taking in and why you're taking it. So let's go further. Okay? Pre versus probiotics. All right. Probiotics are live bacteria. That's what you see when you see active culture written on the yogurt container. That's what it means. Okay? It means that it is what? Live bacteria, usually in yogurt, but it can be in other dairy products, and yes, at the pharmacy, okay? You can take it in pill form. So, what is this again, pre or pro? Pre or pro? Okay, probiotics, they're already alive. They're already doing what they are supposed to do, Okay? So I want you to keep that in mind when you're looking at something that you want to buy. Now, probiotics have been shown what? To be effective in what? Managing certain gastrointestinal conditions. All right? Not all, certain gastrointestinal conditions. They do not have the same power as what? Prebiotics. So the problem with my friend was she never had a gut analysis. So she didn't know what condition her gut was in. Okay? She just knew she wanted to take something. They do not have the same power. They don't have the same power that prebiotics do. Now, I'm about to explain what prebiotics are, but keep in mind, pro is different from pre. Pro is different from pre. Think of pro as professional. I can already box. I'm not learning how to box. I'm a professional boxer. The pro is already active. It's an active ingredient. It's an active bacteria. Okay. Now, oh, no. Oh, okay, here we go. All right. The natural intestinal environment can what? One more time. The natural intestinal environment can what? That means the natural heat of your body. It means if you drink something hot or cold, all right? It means if you have a lot of inflammation already in your intestinal system, now it has to try to get through all of that garbage. Understand? So the natural environment can kill it, rendering them what? Ineffective before they've been what? Now, they have to be digested to be effective. If they are inhibited before they get to the level of digestion, it's a waste of time. You're not getting what you need. So, let's look at the next phase. Ay, por favor, yo necesito su ayuda. Okay. Now, here, a prebiotic is a specialized what? Oh, that's not loud enough. What? One more time. What?
Plant fiber.
Where are you going to get a plant fiber from? Plant-based foods. That's where you get it from. So what must you eat, ladies and gentlemen? Salad. Yes, and you know my student is good. Okay, that's why she got a good grade in my class, because she knows how to listen. Okay. It comes from plant-based foods. Plant-based fiber that is beneficial and nourishes what? Okay, here, the good bacteria. That means the good bacteria has to be present, ladies and gentlemen. If it's not there, what's it going to nourish? What's it going to nourish? Oh, go ahead on. You know what? You are a newbie, but you are right on the ball, okay? It's going to nourish what's there. It is going to nourish what's there. And if you don't have the good stuff, you have something else there, okay? So, and this good bacteria is already where? In the large bowel or colon, okay? In the large intestines. The body itself does not what? Digest plant-based foods. Instead, the fibers act as a? What does fertilizer do in your garden? Stimulates what? Growth of whatever you plant. If you have a vegetable garden, your fertilizer, right, makes it grow. If you have a flower garden, a good fertilizer helps it grow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you have good bacteria, a fertilizer helps it grow. Where are you going to get that fertilizer from? Okay, very good. So you need to consider. Now, I realize, and in all fairness, I know that this is a process. I'll tell you, I grew up in a meat-eating family, my personal experience, and my grandmother was from the South. Anybody from Georgia here? Nobody? Okay, this time. My grandmother's from Savannah, okay? So Savannah is the southern part of the country. What do we eat in the South? Huh? Everything. That's right. She got it right on. That is right. We eat everything. What do you think went into a pot of greens? Okay, you know what I'm saying? Now, greens are good. I have grown up on so many collards. I'm probably growing collards out of my ears. But I'm going to tell you, I love collard greens. She developed a taste in us for the good foods, but she didn't have the education that we're talking about right now. So fatback went in everything. It went in everything. I remember Granny saying, baby, I need me a piece of fatback, okay? I want you to go over to the store and tell Mr. Morris to cut me out a nice little square piece so I can put it in these greens, okay? And ham. I grew up eating ham. Ham was a staple. It was at every holiday. Grew up eating it. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm a vegetarian today, but I still have fond memories of eating meat. Okay? It tastes good. A little salty sometimes, but it tastes good. If it was too salty, I didn't like it. Probably they over-cured it. But if it was just right, oh man, that ham was delicious. Now, I'm not promoting meat eating, but what I'm saying is it's a process, okay? As I began to study at university level, my undergrad degree is in health and physical education, I began to see that there were some health differences in terms of diets. And so, with prayer, with God's guidance, with exposure to this faith, the Seventh-day Adventist faith, I decided to become a vegetarian. So Karen, I didn't grow up that way, girl. But by the time you saw me, I was already there, okay? Amen. So I decided, and it's a funny story to me just because I remember it so vividly. I was going to be baptized the 28th of February that year, okay? And I had already stopped eating meat. To the extent Granny got mad. She said, you can't eat my food anymore? Who do you think you are? I worked hard to make this food. Girl, you know, you get a little education and you think you're cute, okay? Granny did not mince her words, all right? Now, it wasn't about that, but she couldn't understand. Now, eventually she did become Adventist, okay? But at that time, she did not understand. The only thing she knew is she worked to the bone to help and raise my sister and I. And she could not understand why you couldn't eat a little piece of chicken, why you couldn't eat a little piece of ham, because it's not going to kill you, because all the people she'd ever known never died from eating a little piece of ham and a little chicken, okay? So it was a transition even for our family. But I decided to stop eating the pork first, okay? And then I preferred steak. It was a leaner meat and to me a tastier meat. And so I said, okay, Lord, you got to get me over this steak thing. Okay, Lord, you got to get me over this hump in the name of Jesus. So this was Thursday. I'm still at Westchester. I'm a graduate of Westchester University, by the way. I'm still at Westchester. It's Thursday night. I said, Lord, I really like cheesesteak. Now, anybody who's from the Philadelphia area, you know we can blow it out with a Philadelphia cheesesteak. And I used to like my cheesesteak with fried onions on it, okay? So, you know, I rolled with it. But I always exercised, so it kind of wasn't an issue in terms of that, but it's just a taste thing, okay? And that's what most of us struggle with. Yeah. Remember what Dr. Watkins was talking about yesterday? Taste is an emotional thing. If it tastes good, it feels good. Yeah, okay? So we have to learn to what? Change our taste. Ordered my cheesesteak. Yes, I'd like a Philadelphia cheesesteak, please. With plenty of cheese, mushrooms, and fried onions. As a matter of fact, sir, can you make that 2? And they delivered at Westchester. Oh my goodness. That guy rolled up there with my cheesesteaks, cut them nice, laid everything out. I said, Lord, this is going to be the last time. And if it's going to be the last time, I'm going to enjoy every second of it, okay? I rolled those cheesesteaks out. By the time I finished, my stomach was out here. It's like, oh. But I'm saying all of that to say I never touched another piece of beef ever in my life since that time. And I was 19 years old when I made the decision to give my life to the Lord, okay? I'm telling you, God is good. God is good. And if you're faithful and you follow the plan he's laid out, see, all of this is biblical. I'm talking science. This is biblical. Do what the Lord says. You will become younger. You'll become more energetic. People will say, really? You're not 32? Oh, no. I thought your wife was 29. Oh, get out of here. What are you doing? I get that question all of the time. What are you doing? I'm doing God's plan, okay? I'm so thrilled when I see people do God's plan. You don't know what it does for me to see Karen here and to hear her promote it, not only for herself, but for her children. I see her telling her kids, no, you're not going to eat that. You're not going to chew that. I see that kind of thing. Her husband was also my student, Donald and Karen. Go for the Rosses, yeah. And they have maintained that through the years. They both come from families that promote the health message. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. So let's go back to science. So now we know that if we have probiotics, what is it doing? It's active. It's already active bacteria, right? Pro is active, like the professional, okay? It's active, right. What is the purpose of a prebiotic? Not preventative. What's the other? No, nourishes. That's the word I'm looking for. It nourishes what's already there. Therefore, you want to make sure what's there is the good stuff, okay? That's the difference. Yes, but yes. So what we have to do is change that, and there are studies that are showing that when it's changed in the humans, now we're moving away from the rat, in humans, okay, it's done. Now, what Dr. Reed showed Monday, he was here Monday, is that there's a study. Well, let me go back to a little bit of information for you. I come from a pharmaceutical background. I was with Bristol Myers Squibb for more than 10 years. The pharmaceutical industry pushes their product just like any company in the United States of America or anywhere in the world. So a drug company wants you to do what? Right, use their drugs. Oh, you know, you take my stuff and your gut bacteria is going to be perfect. Maybe, maybe not. Pre and probiotics lean more that way because you can take it in a pill form, okay? Now, what we're doing here at Fit for You is showing you, encouraging you, educating you to do the same thing in a natural lifestyle form. It does happen in lifestyle. The study that Dr. Reed referenced on Monday is a brand new study that showed lifestyle does make a difference. You don't have to do it through drugs. But he also showed you a study where the drug companies were like, you got to use drugs because that's the only way to lower your problems, okay? So you have to make what? An educated decision, okay? I saw you first and second. Yeah, that's
Going back to your, about the pro and prebiotics, back to your example about your friend in Korea, that you weren't sure what you were getting pre and pro, and she took some and became ill. Go back to that example.
Nausea.
She got nauseated.
Right, like
because
she didn't even know what her profile looked like. She just took it just because she knows that it's good. And see, people get confused with pre and pro. That's why I keep trying to give you an example. That's why you have to think of pro as the professional. It's already active. It's already doing what it's supposed to do.
So she should have taken a pro.
No, she needs to know what her gut profile looks like. She doesn't know what's going on yet. She's just taking it because she knows it's supposed to be good, but she doesn't know. Now you can, and I'm not saying you can't try a pre or probiotic. I'm just saying you can have a side effect because you don't know what's happening there. That's the point I'm trying to make. You don't know. And you won't know until you go to your doctor and you say, you know, I'd like a gut analysis. That's how you do it, stool analysis. Okay. It's the same. We're talking about flora. Flora and bacteria, we're talking about the same thing. That's all we're talking about. It's the same thing. The names are just interchangeable. Okay? All right. So we find that we have many digestive benefits. Keep in mind pre and pro. And you can see me afterwards if you have more questions about that. But you have to know the difference. Pro is already active. Pre nourishes what's going on in your gut. Okay? So let's take a look at, you know, there's a commercial that comes on. I always catch the commercials when I'm on the plane because the flight is like 14 hours to get here, and I am so tired. But I see the commercials, and when I get here, I'm always curious about what's new or what's being promoted, especially in the health industry. So there's a commercial that says, "What's your number?" And it's a commercial about a mattress company. And there's a sleep number that you have for this mattress company, okay? And so I kind of like to play on words. I said, what's your number? Or in this case, what's your profile, okay? And so if you look at the diagram that I have on the left, you have lactobacilli, okay? Everyone knows this one. What's this? Right. You know that if you get strep in your throat, we call it strep throat. Yeah. You know, it can make you sick, all right? All right, and it's showing you the different places. Now, you have all of this going on, Enterococcus, you've got bacteriotoids, you've got Peptococcus, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Clostridia. All of these things are in different places. Now, notice that lactobacilla is where? Here in the small intestine, okay, or in the stomach, excuse me, and then further down in the small intestine, okay? And strep occurs where? This is the small intestine, right here in the small intestine, okay? And it's just showing you where most of your bacteria is. Now, the reason you have to do a stool sample is because your food has to pass from your mouth, through your esophagus, through your stomach, into the small intestine, then it goes into the large intestine, and then, of course, you defecate. So that's where we see what's going on in your stomach, okay? And by going through all of this, it will pick up what's going on, okay? So let's take a look at what's good and what's bad. Let's say that you do go to your doctor. Let's say that you do get a fecal analysis. And let's say that he says you have 10% of this. I'm just going to make it simple. 10% of this, 10% of this, whatever he happens to say. Well, let's look at what we really want. Okay? This acidophilus is what you see in yogurt. Many yogurts will say it has acidophilus. Okay? Is it good or bad? Good. Okay? And you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. 6 different bacteria that are listed here. Now, there's more, but it's just to give you an idea. Okay. When I say E. coli, is that good or bad? Yeah, that's usually bad. That's usually bad stuff. As a matter of fact, if E. coli is on your salad, or maybe I saw this, oh, this had to be, what was that show, The View maybe? Maybe it was The View, where there are 4 or 5 ladies talking. So one lady, the doctor was there, he was a bacterial doctor, asked her to take out a bottle of water, okay? They ran a test that bottle of water. Now, I want you to know, I can't remember, but this was the outside. So the idea was to give you an idea that bacteria is so prevalent. They said, we're going to test for E. coli. Sprayed that baby down. That bottle had E. coli on it, and she was drinking water from that bottle, okay? E. coli is what you definitely will find in your feces, okay? People who do not wash their hands and they're serving you food in a restaurant, you don't want to go there again, okay? That's how important it is to be aware and to wash your hands and to be clean. Yes, it's everywhere, but you certainly don't want it here. Okay? Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to use this. Let me use this so people can hear your question. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to step back so it doesn't.
Obviously, it's important to wash our hands.
Yes.
But can we overwash by using things like hand sanitizers? Can that destroy good bacteria?
That's an excellent, excellent, excellent question. First of all, when you wash your hands, let me just review it while it's in my mind. You want to wash, 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 wash. One of the things, and because we are health educators, Shelley said, I wash my hands when I go in the bathroom. I wash first because I don't know who's touched what, all right? Then she'll use the bathroom, and that's our Shelley here, okay? She will wash her hands going in the bathroom, use a paper towel, touch the door, and I'm not telling you have to do it. You make your own choice, okay? Do what she has to do, come back, use that same paper towel, wash her hands, open the door with the paper towel, and then throw it away. Not everybody does that, okay? So, soap is sufficient to answer your question. Now, the chemicals that have alcohol and various other things in it, I have heard both sides of the coin on that sometimes they are overstringent and take away what you need, okay? But I'll tell you this, a personal preference. If I'm in a restaurant or in a situation, more so, where I cannot get to water, I cannot get to soap, I keep sanitizer in my handbag and I clean my hands, okay? All right.
Are they saying antibacterial soap?
And I haven't researched antibacterial soaps, but I do use them, okay? Do you have a time preference, Leah? Oh, okay. Maybe somebody could help me. That would be helpful. Okay. All right. So I don't know. Again, I'd rather research it, but I use antibacterial soaps.
But I've kind of heard something similar. That
Yes.
you can overwork that
Yes.
with soaps. That's why I just asked
Okay,
that.
one more time. Just say that so everyone can hear you.
I asked a question about is it on?
It doesn't sound like it's on, Leah.
I asked the questions about antibacterial soaps. She had talked about hand sanitizers, and there's good and bad associated with it. I've heard something similar with respect to antibacterial soaps, that you can overuse them.
Right.
I don't know if that
Right.
destroys effectiveness or reduces your immune quality.
Oh,
or
not that
something.
much, but it could, I
know.
think. I mean, if I have a choice, I go to the bathroom all the time, and just wash with the
Oh,
soap that's
sure.
in there. But there might be situations, I think, where you don't have that soap and water option, and you might just need to clean your hands, so.
And a lot of people use antibacterial soaps now, even when you go in.
Yes, that's true.
establishment. It's
I do
very
see that.
highly used.
I do see that. Okay, good. Okay, here goes me.
My question's easy. I've been to some restaurants or restrooms
Yes.
where they don't have hot water running. Everything is cold.
Why are you going in Korea? Okay? Don't you live in the United States of America?
They're doing it here,
Okay?
even in the churches. I mean, does that make a difference whether it's hot or cold water?
Okay. Me? I prefer hot water. Now, I haven't done a study on it, just to be fair. I always say if I haven't done a study, I can't give you a 100%, 1,000% answer, but I will say that for years, hot water has always been preferred to wash. To wash over cold water. And because I've grown up with that for so long, if it's cold water, I don't feel like my hands are clean. Now, that's probably my perception, but I'm with you. I am totally with you. I want hot water. If I'm going to wash, give me some hot water. If it's too hot, I can add a little cold, but let me get whatever might be here off so that I can feel comfortable eating my food. But a very, very good question. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. In the back, we need to pass the microphone. Thank you, sweetie.
Does a lot of bad bacteria lead to acid reflux?
To what?
Does a lot of bad bacteria lead to acid reflux?
Acid reflux. I have not studied it specifically, but with acid reflux, your food is coming back the other way. My guess would be, without having done research, that it's part of the story. Yeah, it's probably part of the story. I haven't done research to look at various studies that have been done with acid reflux, and so I can't answer that accurately, but you know, just looking at the research I have done, I can't see why it wouldn't be part of the story. But that's a good question, and if you can write that down for me, I'll check it out for you, and I'll come back with an answer. Okay? All right, so let's move on. Questions? Okay, good. All right, so let's talk a little bit about pH level. You remember this from science class, right? Okay? One side of the spectrum is acidic. The other side of the spectrum is alkaline, okay? Do I have one more pen? Last pen. Scientific question. The pH status in the gut, is it acidic or is it alkaline? Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. Someone who did not get a gift. No, what is the right answer? Someone who did not get a gift. Did not. Yes. Karen told you, but yes, it's alkaline. You may have known. It is supposed, and not, it's slightly alkaline. It's not considered heavily, but it's considered the human body, if everything is perfect, which none of us usually are, slightly alkaline. So that means that we need to consider what foods or what things might promote this. Now, we're going to have a presentation behind mine, and he's going to talk about the nutritional factors that establish certain states in your gut. And so I'm not going to bridge on that, but I've touched on it a little bit as to what type of food. Who can tell me what type of food do you want? Okay, plant-based, yes. I've already talked a little bit about that, but he's going to go into it more. So if we look at, and I'll come back to you, Dinette, hold that question for me. If we look at this chart, this is neutral. Neutral means we have equal levels of alkaline and acid. Now let's look at some of the things that fall within that baseline. The normal blood level, pH level, is 7.4. Can everyone see my chart? Okay. What's with milk? What do we see? 6.3 to 6.6. Which direction is it moving? To the acidic side. That means if you consume dairy products, you consume ice cream, you consume milk, you consume all of that good, creamy, cheesy food from the Cheesecake Factory. Da-da-da-da. 2 minutes. Thank you. Okay. All right, hold the question. Let's go to coffee. Look at that. Okay? What's after coffee? Grapefruit and tomato juice. Now, it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's acidic. Okay? It's an acid base. Lemon and vinegar. We already know lemon is acidic, right? We put in a lot of our foods. And then, of course, we get down here and we see battery acid. We don't eat it, hopefully. Okay? Now, let's go the other way. Seawater, more alkaline. Look at that. Baking soda. We put this in food. Ammonia, bleaches, and drain cleaners come on the high side of base. All right? So the only way you're going to know where your body is to get a test. Vegetarians tend to be more alkaline than meat eaters. Okay? So again, the question is, what's your baseline? How do we change our environment? We already know the answer to this. I just showed you a Mediterranean diet just to show you some of the things that have been seen with that. Many times it's a plant-based type diet, okay? But by choices, What did we learn yesterday about what? Suicide, okay? Dr. Watkins talked a lot about that. We know what this is. What is this? New start, okay? We know that by having a new start lifestyle, we can change what? Our gut environment. Everything, ladies and gentlemen, is about a choice. Okay? We have 6 o'clock class every day, but you have a choice to get up and come. If you come, you get the benefits. If you don't come, it's a lot harder to get out of bed every day, and every day thereafter. Okay? Every day you can choose to drink water rather than soda. Every day you can take a 5 or 10-minute walk out in the sunlight. Every single day you can balance your life. You can have fresh air, get rest. But most of all, ladies and gentlemen, and this is my belief as a fitness counselor and instructor, all of this, your exercise, your food, everything, is a spiritual act of worship. And if you realize that what I do impacts the holy temple of the living God, and that I can do so much more if I follow what God tells me, you will be happier, healthier, and a blessing to your family and the rest of the world. God bless you, and thank you very much. I will get to your question.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Okay.